Hello, welcome to the United Stand. Jose Mourinho is losing the battle at Manchester United and will ultimately lose against Paul Pogba. This is from a pundit and an ex-Manchester United player, which we'll be talking about in a moment, giving my thoughts as well. A few other things I want to discuss about Paul Pogba's comments and how it's ridiculous that people are going in on him. Also, we've not done it for a while. I really want to get involved in the live comments. We used to do it on a Saturday night live, but I want to get involved because it's been a big week for United, so I really want to get involved in your live comments. Also, as well, remember you can win a Manchester United shirt from me, Mark Goldbridge. All you got to do, use the link in the video description to BetBull. You've got to be over 18. Do gamble responsibly. Download the app. Search Goldbridge FC. Follow me, put a bet on for £5 and you'll go in the draw to win a United shirt. Trust the Fox had his today. He had the money sent out to get his today. So it can be done and it will be done. We'll be announcing another one over the weekend. So anyway, let's start off. Jose Mourinho's will lose the battle with Paul Pogba. This is coming from Robbie Savage, who is a pundit. He was formerly part of the Manchester United youth setup. But basically what he's saying is that this echoes to him things that have happened in his career. Specifically, he remembers going to, as the captain of a club that he was at, he remembers expressing, as a team, because in a captain's role, that's what you do, the team's concerns. He was absolutely slated by the manager for it, but ended up lasting at the club longer than the manager did. And that is what he's basically saying, that Jose Mourinho seems to be making a fall guy of Paul Pogba here. And I think that, look, I did the press conference reaction. Please do watch it, because although I found it very stressful, I've had a few beers now, I am relaxed, and it is all about opinion. I just do get frustrated by people who are going in on Paul Pogba. And I want to talk about that, Roy Keane. Jose will win the battle, Pogba will win the war, says Kadir Hussein. That may well be right. But I think a lot of United, what I've seen a lot of this week from United fans, and I admit Paul Pogba's comments publicly basically saying that United need to attack and that's what we should be doing at home. I initially said, maybe you shouldn't be doing that. It does undermine the club a little bit, but he's right. I thought, I was just sat there this afternoon, supping on a beer, and I thought, I know this has happened before. I know it's happened worse than this before. And why is Paul Pogba being, villainised? Why is Paul Pogba, people are talking about his dancing, his haircuts, his bad attitude? Because after a game where we got played out off the park by Wolves, he came out and said, we need to attack more. That's what we should be doing at home. I thought, why are we Why are some United fans going in on Paul Pogba for saying exactly what you want him to say? And then you hide behind this moralistic thing that, it shouldn't be said because it undermines the manager. Well, look, we know that Mourinho's undermined the club loads of times, but let me just go through some of the quotes from Roy Keane over the years, because I remember Roy Keane when we got knocked out of the Champions League once. He went in on the team big time. Anyway, this is what he said. United are not good enough. In April of 2001, Keane claimed it may be time to break up the Manchester United team in the wake of another disappointing Champions League exit. The players gave it their all, but were just not good enough. You have to face the facts. I think the signs have been there this season. The players gave it their all tonight, but we're just not good enough, and maybe it's time to move on. Then again in 2002, following another Champions League exit, we blew it. This club deserves to win European Cup, and we blew it. It's as simple as that. We had a great opportunity, and these sort of answers don't come along very often. This club belongs to win things. It's more disappointing for the manager, the staff, and the fans, because I think they deserve better than this. This is the captain of Manchester United saying this. And then, also, players lack desire. There are a lot of cover-ups sometimes, and players need to stand up and be countered. I'm not sure that happens a lot at this club. That's the least we should do. We shouldn't have to demand it from the players. They should be proud to play and give 100%. We're not asking for miracles. We're asking for them to do what they should be doing. When players don't do that, it's bloody frustrating. We're going to find it hard to win the league, and if we end up with no trophies, there's something wrong. This is Roy Keane. Prime Roy Keane, 2002, talking about fellow teammates, not when he got kicked out of the club in 2006. Prime Roy Keane, 2002, saying his players around him are not putting enough effort in and it's not good enough for Manchester United. And yet here we are, 16 years later, having a go at Paul Pogba because publicly he said after a game in the mix zone, we need to attack more at home. He shouldn't say that. What is he doing? What? Paul Pogba, vice-captain of the club, saying we need to attack more, and then 16 years before you've got Roy Keane, with the backing of Sir Alex Ferguson, saying we're not good enough, the attitude's not right. We live in this modern society where we think your farts don't smell. If you say so, he's undermining the club. What a load of nonsense. This has been going on for years, and a lot worse has been said. This is the media trap that you're falling into. And I think this is the Jose Mourinho trap you're falling into as well. Because I agree with Jose on this. I think Jose Mourinho is fighting for his future here. And one of the very interesting things I didn't mention in the press conference, so I'm not repeating myself here, is that Christian, no. Somebody said this to me as well. Christian said to me, I've just got to pull this up first. So Christian's saying, Mark, did you just compare Pogba with Keane? Christian, are you an idiot? Have I just, no. What have I just done? Do you need me to spell it out to you, Christian? Of course, Roy Keane is a legend. He's my favourite player at Manchester United in my lifetime. And Paul Pogba can only dream of emulating what Roy Keane did. How can you say I'm comparing Keane to Pogba? What I'm saying is that players in the past have come out and spoken against what's happened on the pitch and said it's not good enough, we must do better. Roy Keane's just an example because he's the most high profile. There's loads of players over the years who've come out and said things after results that it's not good enough. And that's all Paul Pogba did. And you're not all, because some of you have got brains, but some of you are wanting to say, oh, he's undermined the club, he shouldn't do that. For coming out after a game and saying we weren't good enough. It's been going on for years. It's not a big deal. It's been turned into a big deal. I'm not comparing Keane to Pogba. Far from it. What I'm saying is that players at Manchester United over the last decades have come out and said things after matches. When you look at it, all Pogba said is, we're not attacking enough, we should be attacking at home. That's not down to me. What's wrong with it? I think we've come in, whether it's, this silly civilization of, political correctness gone mad or something like that, infiltrating football. You can't say anything now because it's controversial. I don't think he did anything controversial anyway. But what I wanted to continue with is that I actually feel that when you look at Manchester United at the moment, we've just been played off the park twice in 2 home games, and we've not spoken about it. We're speaking about Pogba Mourinho. And I just think that actually what's happening here, the coat being thrown into the crowd, the clapping of the crowd, something that Jose Mourinho has never done at Manchester United, is something very clever. Jose Mourinho is a very, very clever man. And I think what Jose is trying to do, he's trying to get you on side. And if you're on side, he's achieving what he needs to achieve. I'm not saying he's being manipulative. He needs to do it. It's not manipulative. It's his livelihood. His only way of solving this issue is to get you on side. So I think that when he says in a press conference that the cameras only get 15 minutes a month to film Manchester United training, 15 minutes a month they get, and they just so happen to get 15 minutes when Jose Mourinho goes in on Paul Pogba. I'll leave that one there. I'll leave that one there. 15 minutes when he knows they're filming him. 15 minutes a month, and they get the golden shot. They get the one that is going to set the tone for the rest of the week and totally take away from the Wolves disaster and the Derby disaster of the performance on the pitch. I just think it's a bit coincidental, and I don't believe in coincidences. I think that this is very clever from a very clever man who is deflecting the pressure from himself and putting it onto players. And that is the complete opposite of what Sir Alex Ferguson used to do. He would deflect the pressure on the players and take it onto him. Whereas I think Jose Mourinho is doing it the other way round, because if he doesn't, he's in big trouble. As I said this afternoon, if we were to lose to West Ham tomorrow, he's emulated the start to the season David Moyes had in his 3rd year. That's just not good enough. And I also think that there is a little bit of a lip surface from Mourinho, because if you think about it, after we'd lost to Brighton and Spurs, the Burnley game, we created over 20 chances and we played quite expansive football. Against Watford and against Wolves, we've gone back to the old Mourinho style of football again. And I do feel that Burnley game was all about, we're going to play this certain way, and then we've gone back to what we were like before. And it's this constant sort of, it gets so bad, I'll try and do that, and then they'll forget, and I'll go back to how I was. But Jose Mourinho needs to keep the fans on side. And that is why, when Robbie Savage says, well, Mourinho's fighting a losing battle at Manchester United, I would tend to agree with that. Because I don't see how this works its way out unless he gets the players on side. Because, yeah, you can get the fans on side, but unless he gets the players on side and gets them playing really, really well, the results aren't going to happen, are they? And that is where Manchester United are with this. Manu Stu says, hypothetically, Jose gets 3rd or 4th position this year, so now we get in the Champions League. Next year, does Woodward keep Jose and his style of play for another year? What do you think, Mark? I think he probably would keep him. I personally hope we get top 4 this season and then Mourinho goes. I think that's the best for everybody. Mourinho goes with his reputation intact. United get Champions League football and the new manager gets to build with that platform, and we don't have a disastrous season where we have to endure Europa League football again. Joseph Lackey says, Jose's statement that nobody is bigger than Manchester United is a mind game. He's proven he's bigger than United several times in his press conferences. He's diverting attention away from his failure. I think Joseph's absolutely spot on. I think that is what's going on at Manchester United. I think Jose Mourinho is chucking out all the right things. And I don't criticise him for it. I think it's exactly the right thing to do. He's got to deflect attention from himself to survive. It's a survival technique. So when he talks about nobody's bigger than the club, well, only a goldfish will go, oh, yeah, oh, what a great comment by Jose Mourinho. Because anybody with a brain will go, hold on a minute, mate. Nobody's bigger than the club. All Pogba did is say we need to attack. Look at what you've done over the last 6 months with your severe comments and your moaning in America. So, you know, it's the right statement, but it's not the right person making it. He's got to achieve on the pitch. And also, I think as well, the other thing that concerns me is the falling out with players. This is something that litters, you know, people talk about the third year syndrome with Jose Mourinho. But there are parallels with his 3rd season at Chelsea. I don't really care about his 3rd year at Real Madrid or Inter or whatever. He didn't do 3 years at Inter, did he? But I do care about his 3rd year at Chelsea because he went from champions to bottom half of the table by the time he got sacked. And there was fallouts with lots of players, key players. Eden Hazard was one. He even fell out with Matic, who's one of his mates. So I think there are parallels with Mourinho. And what I would say is that if you have somebody like Paul Pogba, who is massively popular in the dressing room, and you strip them of the captaincy, you're going to have... and, you know, I even read a story this week, well, nobody was opposed to Paul Pogba having the captaincy taken off him. I mean, come on. If you're Ander Herrera or Luke Shaw and you get told that they've stripped the captaincy of Pogba and Pogba's not in the room, oh, I can't believe it. You know, it's not going to happen. You're going to just nod your head and get your head down, aren't you? But it's not really about, you know, open mutiny on the bounty. It's about morale. And I think morale is very, very important. And I think it's clearly obvious that at Manchester United, there is an issue with morale. I mean, Andres Pereira has apparently not travelled to Manchester United's game against West Ham. I mean, is this because he was sat with Paul Pogba the other night? Is it because he's got a white Bentley? I mean, this is a guy that was picked for the Brazil national team in the last international break. He's got no chance of being part of the Brazil national team in the next international break because he's not played. He played 20 minutes the other day. Why didn't he play in the Carabao Cup? People were like, oh, it's because he's going to play against West Ham. He's not even gone. Why? What has Andres Pereira done? He was the most positive thing on the US tour. You know, you had jokers like McTominay, who'd had the summer off and looked absolutely rubbish in America, amongst others. It wasn't just him. You got Andres Pereira playing against like Real Madrid and Liverpool, and we're getting absolutely annihilated, and he's the only shining light. He was brilliant against Leicester in the first game. He had an average first half against Brighton, and he's not had a look in again. And this is what annoys me about Jose, just to talk about the youth for a moment. Because Angel Gomez was absolutely Angel Gomez was good. Tahith Chong was brilliant last week for the under-23s against Middlesbrough. Absolutely superb. Sir Alex Ferguson and Van Gaal would have had him on the bench in a Carabao Cup game in the midweek. Nowhere near it for Manchester United. And this is what irritates me about the youth of Manchester United. It's like anybody who's got a hint of flair, if they do one little thing, like they put 1 foot wrong, they're gone. But if you're over 6'3" and you're defensive, you can do anything, and he'll keep picking you. And I think, like, I feel really sorry for Andres Pereira because he hasn't done anything wrong. He looked massively exciting in the summer. I still think he should be part of the first team setup. He's more than good enough, but he's being isolated. I think it's really, really wrong. Really, really wrong. Clutching at straws here. We're on a sinking ship, says George Kyle. And our manager is atrocious, says Ryan C. People saying Pogba is forcing himself out of Manchester United. Couldn't be that Mourinho's forcing the club to sack him. I think the Pogba forcing himself out of Manchester United, to be honest with you, is 100% paper talk. I don't know where they're getting their sources from, but it's 100% paper talk. And I think that people just want to believe bad of Pogba. I think some people have made their mind up about Martial. Some people have made their mind up about Pogba, and they want to believe the negative. But I don't think there's a negative there. I think it's really wrong, to be honest with you. There we go. I'm going to take some of your questions in a minute and talk about a couple of other things I want to talk about. But first of all, just want to say, as you should be able to see it on the screen there, the BetBull app is the link in the video description. You've got to be over 18 to play, but I am giving away another Manchester United shirt this weekend. All you've got to do is download it, and you need to go to Sportsbook, hit the magnifying glass in the top right-hand corner, type in, well, you can just type in Goldbridge, to be honest, but it's Goldbridge FC you need to go. Follow me. Put a £5 bet on, follow me, and then you'll go in the draw to win a Manchester United shirt, which I'm going to announce on the watch along tomorrow. As I say, we did it last weekend. Trust the Fox has won. I don't know whether he's in the live comments, but he's had the dough to get his top. You can win one as well. Link is in the video description. And if you do fancy a £5 bet, which I think some of you might do, let me just run you through mine, which will be in the bet centre. So I've gone with Liverpool to beat Chelsea for my sins, but I think they will do. Wolves to win Southampton. City to beat Brighton, which is inevitable. Arsenal to beat Watford because they're at home. And I am going to go with United to beat West Ham. That's a £5. It'll win you 70 quid if it comes in. So link in the video description for that. As I say, once you've downloaded it, go to Sportsbook, search for Goldbridge, follow me, put a £5 bet on. You can put you can use my bet if you want, and you will go in the draw to win tomorrow lunchtime a Manchester United shirt. Well, presuming you're a United fan, if we've got non-United fans, you can enter. Link is in the video description. You've got to be over 18, and please do gamble responsibly. There we go. So let's take some of your questions. Mino Riola told all these comments without Pogba knowing. I think you do, JBiz, I think you do get a £20 free bet when you sign up. There is an offer with BetBull. Jose, defensive manager, United attacking football, says positive energy. We'll get your questions in. Let's do that, the old Saturday Night Live where we take some of your questions. But it is very interesting. It's very, very interesting to see what's happening at United at the moment. I think my biggest frustration, and one of the things that have really got to me this week, is the deflection tactics. I mean, I've heard some journalists saying we're well briefed on some of these stories at the start of the week. We're well briefed. You know what well briefed means? It's probably come from somebody inside the club. And when it's anti-Paul Pogba, then it's probably come... Well, I don't want to speculate really, but you can think where it's come from. If it's about Pogba, it's not coming from players, I don't think. It's coming from a certain camp. And I think that is what we've had this week. And I'll go back to what I said a few minutes ago. The cameras are only allowed to film United for 15 minutes. Paul Pogba runs into training and gets his head bitten off. Come on. You know, you don't get that lucky. That was totally and utterly played by Mourinho, because he knew if he did that, then he would get a whole week of this and not a whole week of you got beat by Derby. I mean, let's be honest. I'm guilty of it as much as you lot. How much of the last 3 days has been spent talking about Derby, a championship side, playing us off the park? Very little. It's all been about Pogba and Mourinho, and Pogba didn't even play in that game. So I've got to say, well done, Jose Mourinho. You've played an absolute stormer. You've absolutely nullified an embarrassing loss. And the Wolves game last week, where we were played off the park and were, fortuitous to get a point, really. Absolutely not on the agenda, not been spoken about at all. And what that actually does, if you are Mourinho out, which obviously I'm not, but I know some people are, if you are Mourinho out, that pressure that would have been on him from the Wolves and Derby results has been gone. If we lose tomorrow, it's not a culmination of bad results. It's been reset because he's totally and utterly swept them under the carpet. There's no momentum from that Derby. There's no momentum from the Wolves and Derby performance that if we lose tomorrow, he should be on his last legs. That's it. Mourinho's out. That momentum's gone. It's been killed by this. Whose side are you on, Pogba or Mourinho? Are you on my side, Mourinho, where nobody's bigger than the club, or are you on nasty Pogba's side, who's spoken out against the club? That's what we've had this week. In the most blunt sense, that's what we've had this week. Instead of pressures on Jose, loses at West Ham, he's lost at Derby, we were terrible against Wolves, the pressure's really on him. I think even if we lose tomorrow, it will be about, Pogba and Mourinho looked at Pogba in a funny way. We're actually being played. We're being played. It's a realisation. We're being played here. Instead, and again, I've got to applaud Mourinho and the media people, totally deflecting any pressure on him and putting it all onto something that actually, at the end of the day, is irrelevant, because it should all be on the football on the pitch. But no, we're focusing on something that actually, you know what? There's no end game on this anyway. Pogba's not going to be sold now. Can't go till at least January. That's 3 months away. Yeah, we can take the hit on that. We can take the back pages on that. It's irrelevant. Just let it bubble over. But don't let him focus on that, because if we focus on that, that's going to put loads of pressure on you. So, very clever, very manipulative, and we have been played this week. And yeah, I suppose it's been good to be played at times because you get passionate about which side you're on. But we have been played. We've 100% been played. Fair No says, to be fair, you are Mourinho out. You can hear it the way you talk about the situation every time. You don't know me, mates. And I've said it 4 or 5 times now that it's getting quite frustrating, and it's probably getting quite irritating for everybody who watches the show to have a decent debate. I've explained this so many times, but for Fair No, who's clearly not bright, I have said I do not think Jose Mourinho is the right man for Manchester United. I don't think he's going to turn this round. I pray to God that he will, because the best solution for Manchester United is not another upheaval. It's to do it with the players and the managers that we've got. However, facts back me up that if Mourinho is to be sacked and you are Mourinho out, you are basically saying, I want to be in the Europa League next year. If you are Mourinho out, that is what you're basically saying, because with Van Gaal and Moyes, this club will not sack a manager till it's mathematically impossible to be in the Champions League because of the clause. It will drop how much they get when they get sacked. It's a massive drop. It's one of the key clauses in every Manchester United manager's contract. You must finish in the top 4. So Mourinho won't get sacked unless we finish in the top 4, which means next season we're back in the Europa League with Arsenal. So what I have said is, I don't think Mourinho can turn this around. This is year 3. We should be winning the title. We've all been mugged off by the numerous stories that are out there. We keep forgetting it's year 3. We keep forgetting we finished second last year. We keep forgetting that we're meant to be progressing, and actually we're regressing, we're declining, but nobody seems to want to grab hold of that because we're all lost in whatever agenda that's been thrown out there to make us not think about that. But the best situation for United is that Jose Mourinho somehow manages to get us in the top 4 and then he goes. That's what's best for Manchester United. That's what I want, because Mourinho out means Europa League next year, and I don't want that. So that's why I back Mourinho, because I want him to get top 4 and I want him to get us out, and then I want him to go. That's what I want to happen. If he wins us the title, he can stay forever. You know, miracles can happen. I like Jose Mourinho. I just think the writing's on the wall with it. So you've been sat down there. You've been sat down, haven't you? Because I keep saying this. I'm just going to put a statement out at the end of every video every day, because I'm fed up of people saying you're Mourinho out. I'm not, and I've explained it quite frankly because I don't want to be in the Europa League next year. I don't want to be in the Europa League next year, so I'm not Mourinho out. But I do agree with people who are saying it's not going to work, because I don't think it will work. I think the best we can hope for is 3rd or 4th. There we go. Do you really think we could get into Europa League with our current form? Indy Kiko. Well, that's probably the question of the night, because do you have to finish 5th to be in the Europa League, or 6th? I mean, we might not. We might be outside, yeah. I mean, we might have... Oh, God. You know what? I hate the Europa League, but... Oh, I don't think I could... Could you do that as well? I mean, Manchester United should be in the Champions League every year. The Europa League is a nightmare. I don't like it, but I would take it over nothing. I mean, oh, God. Could you imagine that? I think Chelsea did it the year they won the league, where you're just playing once a week. Saturday to Saturday. No midweek games. No midweek games apart from the Carabao Cup at the start of the season. I would hate that. I mean, I'd rather be in the Europa League than that. So, Champions League, fine. Anything else is a disaster, but I'd take the Europa League over nothing. Definitely. Divide and rule is what's happening, says Adel Patel. Exactly, and I think that's very, very, very bad for the club. Very, very bad, and I hope they can sort it out. How could you think United won't get Europa League at least? Yeah, I would hope that we should manage that. I would hope that we should manage that. Samir says, I'm from South Africa and love this show. Thank you, pal. I agree with you, Mark. I've said from the start of the season, Jose will leave even if he wins the title or not, says Philip Glover. I don't know. United are on track to be like Chelsea, who's last year there, 1 point above the relegation zone. Is that how bad it got, Alejandro? Well, I think there are parallels. I mean, tomorrow, I'm massively excited when United are playing. I always am. I always go through the week like, you're frustrated after a bad result. Oh, this is terrible. And the closer you get to a game, the more optimistic you get. It's the circle of being a football fan, isn't it? And I am massively excited about tomorrow. But Arnautovic is back. I think we'll beat West Ham tomorrow. That's why I put it in my bet. I do think we'll win. Because also, we've got to bloody win. We've lost so much ground on the people above us. We can't, I think we're going to beat Newcastle next week. I mean, there's something really wrong with us if we can't beat Newcastle at Old Trafford, although we have drawn with them in the past. But, yeah, we've got to win tomorrow. But it's by no means a foregone conclusion. And they're in a decent bit of form at the moment. And we've got to put it on. But I just got a funny feeling Pogba might turn up tomorrow. And then it would be, I think he's got a point to prove, Pogba. I think he's had a lot of very bad press this week and a lot of unfair press. And I think Paul Pogba's going to turn up tomorrow, which is going to be massively beneficial for us. I think we'll win tomorrow. Martial news, says Sabotage. I'm not aware of any Anthony Martial news. I fear the board will wait too long before Jose is gone, says Sally Devil Red 7. Well, this is something I've said, Sally, loads of times. I mean, to be honest with you, people get lost in this, I don't want to be a sacking club. Why? Why don't you want to be a sacking club? What's wrong with being a sacking club? Realistically, what is wrong with being a sacking club? As long as you're making the right decision and you're not being, trigger happy with your sackings, what's wrong with being a sacking club? I've always thought that. Why I don't want to be a sacking club? Why not? If they're not good enough, you sack them. You can't. It's not the job centre. It's not a charity. It's Manchester United, and if they're not good enough, you sack them. Simple as that. And you look at the summer. Didn't back him. Back him or sack him is one of the most relevant statements I think there is out there. If you're not going to back a manager, why are you not backing them? You don't trust them, right? Sack them. That's it. But the way Manchester United works, we're a fantastic business. It's one thing I will always say. We are a brilliant business. Absolutely superb. But because of that, you've got people in power who probably don't know a lot about football. But on top of that, it's always about penny pinching because that's how big businesses are. It is, and the situation is that they will look at it, unfortunately, and go, well, if we sack Jose Mourinho now or in 2 months, it's going to cost us 12-25 million, however much it is going to cost. But if we wait till it's mathematically not possible for us to be in top 4, he's failed on one of his clauses, we only have to pay him 4 million. We've saved 20 million. And they'll think of that. They will totally think of that. I would hope they'd look at it the other way and go, how much are we going to lose for not being in the Champions League? But, that we can only hope with that. 26 million to sack Jose, fire him today, says Michael Percy. Yeah, I don't know whether it would be that much. I mean, well, hey up. Let me, news flash. Talking about no one's bigger than the club. What did Jose Mourinho joke about on the last international break? I won't be going anywhere. I'm too expensive to sack. Oh my life. I suppose that statement's fine then. That's not acting like you're bigger than the club at all, is it? I'm too expensive to sack Mr. Mourinho United. I mean, look, I don't mind what Pogba said last week. I don't really mind what Mourinho says. But I find it a little bit rich when you do the brownie points tick because you've got the away support tomorrow. And the away support are bloody fantastic. They're the lifeblood of the club. And they're going to cheer Mourinho tomorrow because they love Mourinho and they love Manchester United. And I ain't got a problem with that because that's their opinion. But, I've seen it so much on social media tonight. Oh, little, quote from Jose Mourinho. It's got they do the little quote. No one's bigger than Manchester United, then they've got Mourinho's face. Oh, yeah, look, he's our manager. Yeah, let's be dead proud of him. And I just think, look, I love that statement. And if Sir Alex Ferguson was saying it, I'd tweet it out as well. But Jose Mourinho's saying it, and it's just completely hypocritical. You could research for the next 8 hours and write a thesis on Jose Mourinho acting bigger than Manchester United over the last 3 years. But 2 weeks ago, he basically said, I'm too expensive to sack. Manchester United won't sack me because I'm too expensive to sack. Is that not acting bigger than Manchester United? I'm sorry, maybe I'm getting it wrong. But the hypocrisy makes me laugh. And it's not about taking sides. It's about the agenda that's being pushed. People are being pushed down an alleyway to dislike Paul Pogba in my eyes. And that's what I see. And I think it's laughable and it's hypocritical when the best alleyway is to turn around and go down the middle alleyway, which is Paul Pogba, Jose Mourinho sort their relationship out. They get on, the wider club gets on, and we get on as Manchester United winning trophies. I don't really want to go down the alleyway of we're Team Pogba, let's get Mourinho out the club. I don't think that benefits us either. I want to go down the middle. I want Mourinho and Pogba and everybody happy, playing good football, because I think that's the best solution. But we're not. We're going separate ways, aren't we? Zidane is ready to come here, says Talis7. Too expensive to sack. This is acting bigger than United, says Dia. Yes, I agree. Grasping at straws at the Mourinho joke, says Christian. Look, people are going to disagree with me. I'm not grasping at straws. Well, no, it's all about interpretation, isn't it? I've got people saying to me today, Paul Pogba's acting bigger than the club because he said we should attack. And then I've got people saying Mourinho's not acting bigger than the club when he says I'm too expensive to sack. That I've won 3 Premier League titles. That going out in the knockout stage of the Champions League is what United fans should be used to. It's football heritage here. That this tour is a waste of time. There's loads of examples of what Mourinho has said. Begging Marouane Fellaini to stay at the club when Fellaini publicly said the club's made a big mistake not offering me what I'm worth. Is that not undermining the club either? It's like, I'm not trying to say all those people should be castigated like Paul Pogba has been. What I'm trying to say is leave Pogba alone. Loads of people have done it. Why is he being picked on for it? That's all I'm saying. But I'm only one person. I can't stop people who've already made their mind up about Paul Pogba and have got a hate agenda against him. Mourinho couldn't have handled the Pogba situation any better this week, in my opinion. Pogba had the power, but the way Mourinho pulled him up was a statement to the world. I'm in charge. Kieran Byrne. You know what, Kieran? I think you're spot on. I can't argue with that. I disagree with what he's done because I think it's taken away from what's most important, which is the shambles we've been on a football pitch. But I think the way he's played it has been brilliant because he's totally and utterly spun it. He's got a lot of people on his side. He's played the victim fiddle very, very, very well. You know what? An element of luck and a brilliant bit of planning. How lucky for him that on Wednesday it was the one day a month where they get 15 minutes to film training. The day after a loss to Derby. What a golden opportunity that was for him. And he played it. He absolutely played it. He did. Whether you're Mourinho out or not, the way he's played it this week is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Because no one's talking about what's important, which is the shambles we've been on a football pitch. Sack Woodward, get rid of Pogba too, says Cad Cole. Our club has become like a circus rather than a theatre of dreams, says Gary Wells. Love Pogba, love Jose, love United, love the comedy, says Sir C-a-lot. I want Zidane because he will get the best of this bunch. I refuse to talk about... Kathy says, can we start a fundraiser to get the 12 million? Well, it might be 25 million, Kathy, so we might be in trouble there. I wouldn't talk about us getting a new manager because I think that's really massively disrespectful. And as I say, my end game is hopefully that we can scrape top 4 and then a decision can be made in the summer because I don't want to be in the Europa League next year and I think that's the only way Mourinho gets sacked this season. So I want top 4. Hopefully, look, what we've got to be very, very careful is that if you do go with Mourinho, which is what Woodward only said this week, he's going to do that. How long is Zidane going to be out of a job? Most managers who take this sabbatical, if you think about Pep, they will announce where they're going around Christmas and they will start planning and then they will be there in place for the following August. Are we going to be in a position to say to Zidane, the United job's yours next season at Christmas? No, we're not. I don't see us getting Zidane. A lot of people get excited because he's free. But United have had these opportunities before and we always seem to miss out. We missed out on Ancelotti. We missed out on Pep because we were too late. And I thought we got lucky because Mourinho got sacked by Chelsea and hey-ho, there he is, he's available. But, obviously, that's debatable. But I don't think we're going to get Zidane. And I don't necessarily know that I'd want him anyway. Zed Jamie says, I think if Jose didn't get top 4 when we're in the Europa League next season, the next manager will bin it off and play the kids. Yeah, I don't want to be in it though. Please do drop a like on the video, everybody. I'm really enjoying the show tonight, just interacting with you all, getting your thoughts. We haven't done it for quite a while. So cheers, everyone. And remember, it's all about opinion. You know, if you disagree with me, as I will always say, that's the whole point of the United Stand. It's not meant to be, you know, lollipop lane with gingerbread houses, you know, sucking on your doorknob. But that's not what it's all about, because your doorknob's made of, I don't know, candy floss or something hard like a boiled sweet, strawberry. It's, you know, that's not what this channel is about. It's not. It's not really. It's about opinions, and everyone's going to have a different opinion, and it's about that debate that it creates. So, you know, if I'm irritating you because you've got a different opinion, great, because that means that we're creating a debate. So please do drop a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe if you're new and get involved. Kadir Hussein says, Jose can do it at big clubs. He did well at Inter, Porto and Chelsea, but didn't do well at Real Madrid, and he's struggling at Manchester United. Well, he won the title at Real Madrid. He won the title at Real Madrid against the very good Barcelona side, so he can do it. And also at Chelsea, they might not be a very, very big club, but he still won big titles with them. But I sort of agree with what you're saying in a sense, because the Chelsea are not Manchester United. You know, Chelsea are not Liverpool really in size, even though they've had much better success than Liverpool and Arsenal in recent years. They're not nowhere near the size of those clubs. So you're right there. Real Madrid, I think Mourinho always rubbed against Real Madrid because of his attitude. But I always think about Mourinho. I mean, Mourinho's obvious to me what he is. He's Team Mourinho. He's tunnel visioned. I'm right, you're wrong, and it's proved to be absolutely brilliantly successful. But everything comes off the tracks at some point, you know, and it came off the tracks against Chelsea, and I'm not really sure he's ever got back on the tracks. I thought he's done very well with United. We won the Europa League in his first year, you know, and we were lucky along the way. We were lucky, you know, if we didn't win that Europa League, we were back in it the following year because we finished 5th, didn't we? So you got a little bit of luck on the way. I remember that second leg semi-final at Old Trafford. They had the chance to knock us out, and it was a crap finish by Guidetti. That would have been a very different thing, wouldn't it? So we won the Europa League. He did well. He got a little bit lucky, but he did well. Last season, you know, some people say we're the worst second team ever. We still finished second. We blew the FA Cup against Chelsea, but we were a long way behind Man City. There was a gulf between us. So I don't really think that Mourinho's ever got himself back on track from what the disaster that was Chelsea in that final season. I think he's always been fighting a battle to try and stay on the tracks. And at the moment, he's doing it again. But I don't think he will ever get back to what he was in his prime. I think the decline is there because football's moved on. Not because he's an arrogant man, not because he's tunnel visioned. I just think football's moved on. And his brand of football, it doesn't work anymore. I think he can shut Man City out. I think he can shut Liverpool out. I think he knows how to do that. But unfortunately, there isn't 18 other Manchester Uniteds in this league. Everybody else in the league doesn't play that way. They try and have a go against teams like City and they get battered. So over the season, even if they drop points to United, City are going to beat more teams than we're going to beat. And that's why Mourinho's not successful anymore, because I don't think you can grind a title out anymore against these teams of the last couple of years. It's the way football is. But that statement that Ander Herrera made, I think it was last March or something, where he said, I've never met somebody who just doesn't care about anybody else, what they think about him. They're just very focused. So that's always been quite an interesting thing to me. But I think he does care now. I think he's had to start caring, because if he continued down that traditional Mourinho, I'm not bothered about anybody. I mean, he's took pops at the fans a few times at United, you know, defending Lukaku. If you look through the last 12 months, there's been a couple of times where he's had a go at the United fans. He would never do that now, because if he does that, he's gone. He's had to change. He's had to get the fans on side, because if he doesn't, he's got nothing. The players, are they with him? The board, did they back him? If you ain't got the fans, you got nothing. So he's using the fans now because that's his last chance. It's his last chance. And it's going to be very interesting. Very interesting to see how it goes. Why not United really focus to buy who they want, says Sienda Doob. Why aren't we talking about tomorrow's game instead of Jose nonsense? This is ridiculous. We're a footballing club, not a soap opera house, says Rishab. You know, you're speaking my language, mate. And not just because you're doing it in English. You actually are, in a deeper sense, speaking my language. Because we should be talking tonight saying, if we lose or draw tomorrow, the pressure's got to be on. The pressure's got to be on with Mourinho, because it's unacceptable. And if we don't play well tomorrow, again, but I think we'll win, because I don't think we'll play well. I just think without the pressure of having to play well away from home, he's got the licence to grind it out, and I think we will. I think Andreas Bay and co are being punished for being a member of Pogba FC, says Wayne Mason. It's very sad. It's very sad. And you know what? Just to go back to what Rashid said there, does it make me happy to think that tomorrow our starting lineup's got Valencia in it, Matic in it, Fellaini in it, Sanchez in it, Lingard in it? You know, these players, they're meh players for me. They're bench players for me. And they're Mourinhoites to me. Does it make me sad that people like Pereira, Bailly, Martial, they're not playing? Yes, it does. They should be playing. But, you know, as I said, why was Angel Gomez and Tahith Chong not on the bench on Tuesday night? You know, why? And I know people will say, well, they're not ready, Mark. Then, you know, we needed to pick a strong team, Mark. Well, we did, and we lost. There's no way. The Carabao Cup has always been about, or the League Cup has always been about at United. We were the first team to do it, blooding the youth. And as I said, Tahith Chong in the under-23s was brilliant last weekend. He should have been on the bench. He should have been getting 20 minutes. No. So when are these kids going to get their chance? Because we're out the League Cup now. Do you really think he's going to give him a chance in the league? Do you really think he's going to give him a chance in the FA Cup? Angel Gomez made his debut for Wayne Rooney at the end of the season before last. Since then, he's played about 5 minutes. It's not good enough. It's not good enough in the youth sense, but it's a totally... These are the things we should be discussing tonight. Instead, we're talking about, are you on Team Mourinho or Team Pogba? An irrelevant agenda that's been set this week to move us away from the things that really matter. That's my opinion on it. Anyway. I'm a United fan, but I'd rather watch Djokovic play than watch United at the moment. I don't know whether that's a good or a bad thing. Maybe he's quite good. A lot of people might be watching the golf, but we have got... the game is a 12:30 kickoff tomorrow in the UK. So we'll be live at 11:30 with the team news. Martial should be starting tomorrow. Martial should start tomorrow. 100%. 100%. And if he doesn't, then I'm not going to be happy about it, because he was brilliant the other night and Sanchez has been terminally shit. And it's just not right. It's not right for him to keep picking players just because they're part of his gang. And Martial's a mate of Pogba's, so he doesn't get picked. He's got to start tomorrow. He's got to start tomorrow. Let's see if he does. Thanks everyone who is dropping a like on the video. You're absolutely fantastic. Your comments have been brilliant tonight. And obviously, like I say, if you don't agree with some people or you don't agree with me, it doesn't mean that your comments are not, valid. They are. It's all about opinions. Barty Tass says, is top 4 by Christmas achievable? Of course it is. There's plenty of points to be played for. I think those 2 points we dropped at Wolves are very, very, very frustrating. We could have done with those. We've got a few tough games between the next international break and Christmas. So we've got to win the next 2. But I said against Wolves, we needed to win them as well. So, you just don't know what you're going to get with United. You really don't. You really do not know what you are going to get with Manchester United Football Club under Jose Mourinho. And we've been saying that for about 3 years now. You just do not know. Anyway, I'll draw your attention again to the link in the video description. If you want to win a United shirt or you fancy having a bet tomorrow, make sure you download the BetBull app. All you got to do to go in the draw to win the shirt is click on the sportsbook on the homepage and search for Goldbridge by typing Goldbridge. Goldbridge FC is what you want to do. Follow me and then put a £5 bet on, and when you sign up, you should get a free bet offer anyway through BetBull as a new signer-upper. Follow me to go in the draw to win a shirt and put a £5 bet on. Some people are putting my bet on, which is Liverpool win, Wolves win, City win, Arsenal win, United win. £5 will win you 70 quid, but put any bet you want to do. And the brilliance about BetBull is that there are a lot of people on there, they call them bulls, who've been doing it for months and months and months. You've got very, very, very high numbers of followers and very, very high success rate. So they'll put a bet up and you can bet on their bet. So it's your bet, but you're copying their accumulator, and they're very successful. So, you can get some decent winnings back if you have a scour around at some of the bulls on there. So that's the BetBull app. You've got to be over 18. Please do gamble responsibly. But if you also want to go in for the shirt giveaway, which we did one last weekend, and we'll be doing one on the watch along tomorrow as well. The link is in the video description. Download it, follow me, and put your £5 bet on. You can use mine or you can use anybody else's on there. There's loads of people to follow. Thanks everybody for that. The link is in the video description. And well done to, I forgot the name now, Trust the Fox, who won it last week. He emailed me today. I like this comment from Wazim. He says, just look at the times we're in. We aren't 100% sure that we're going to beat West Ham. We used to feel this was a guaranteed 3 points. That doubt says it all. We're in a tough time. We're in a tough time at the moment. We're in a tough time, but I hope we can get out of it. But it is hope. It's not belief. But things can change. I do think we'll win tomorrow. I think everyone's expecting, rivals-wise, are expecting another meltdown tomorrow. I firmly think we'll win tomorrow. It's just the way it is with Mourinho. It never goes too bad. I think what's happened in the last week has been bad enough, but we never do enough for the momentum to build, and I don't want that to happen. And I don't think it will happen tomorrow. I think we'll win tomorrow. We'll beat Newcastle, and then after the international break, we'll probably lose at Chelsea because we always do. We'll all be pissed off again, and then we'll probably win the next game but lose the next one. And I think that's maybe what this season's going to be about. And I just hope we can accumulate enough points to get top 4. Anyway, I'll see you at 11:30 tomorrow. We'll be live with the watch along. We've got fan cams, match reaction, all that. See you tomorrow. Thanks everyone who's dropped a like on the video. You're absolutely fantastic. And do get your comments in below. Loads discussed again. You might have things that you want to say. So you can leave a comment. Even if you're in the live comments, you can still go down and leave your comment up there and get the conversation going. In fact, the earlier you get your comments in, the more chance you'll get more likes and be the #1 comment. That's how it works. See you all later tomorrow. And thanks everyone. And remember the bet ball thing. If you want to have a go on that, the link in the video description. See you later.